All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're looking at how video games manufacture legendary drama by slamming mathematical scarcity right into peak human execution. We always pit these two forces against each other, right? You've got the cold, hard roll of the dice on one side and endless hours of grinding on the other. But the absolute magic, the stuff that actually makes gaming history, happens when these two elements violently crash into each other.
So what exactly do a $2.5 million digital knife and a zero point 0.1 second reflex have in common? To figure out why we actually play, we have to look at the massive gap between uncontrollable chance and absolute frame-perfect mastery. It's all about how games manipulate the boundaries of what we can control and what we can't, which generates this incredible addictive tension.
Section 1. Games of Pure Chance. We are starting on the extreme end of the gaming spectrum here. Environments where your skill means absolutely nothing.
1 in 4 billion. That staggering number is the probability of finding 2 Spinda in Pokemon with the exact same spot pattern. It makes a shiny match virtually impossible. The Pokédex literally tells us every single Spinda has a completely unique pattern. Factor in the already wild odds of finding a differently colored or shiny Pokemon, and finding 2 identical shiny Spindas is just a mathematical anomaly. It's basically the developers hiding a lottery ticket in the game's code, fully knowing almost no one is ever going to cash it in.
And that brings us to this. $2.5 million. That's the estimated value of the Counter-Strike 2 Karambit case-hardened Blue Gem Pattern 387. And guys, this isn't Monopoly money. This is a real-world valuation for a digital knife. It's widely considered the most expensive skin in the history of the game, simply because the play side is completely covered in a super rare blue pattern.
But here's the kicker. This massive valuation is entirely driven by luck. Your mathematical odds of actually unboxing that factory new knife? 1 in 131 million. To put that into perspective, you literally have better odds of winning the actual lottery than pulling this exact item from a digital loot case. Counter-Strike skins have a market cap in the billions, driven entirely by the same manufactured scarcity that makes real-world diamonds so valuable. You can't practice for this. You just have to be impossibly, astronomically lucky. Now, academic game design tells us that solvable games, where the whole possibility space is known and can be exploited, quickly lose their fun. That is exactly why developers intentionally inject these unpredictable elements. Think about tic-tac-toe. Once you know the strategy, it's a draw every single time and you just stop playing. So the crucial takeaway here is that adding randomness creates this deliciously tense illusion of control that keeps us coming back for more. It gives the underdog a sliver of hope for a lucky drop. And honestly, when we lose, it cushions the ego. We can just say, well, I played perfectly. The game just gave me terrible RNG. Section 2. The pinnacle of human skill. Now we're going to whip hand to the exact opposite extreme. An environment with zero luck requiring total mechanical execution. Look at EVO 2004. Daigo Umehara pulled off the most iconic moment in competitive gaming history, surviving an absolute onslaught from Justin Wong with literally a single pixel of health. Playing as Ken, even blocking an attack would have meant chip damage and instant death. Blocking wasn't an option. Daigo had to parry.
This brilliantly illustrates the absolute ceiling of human capability. Missing a single fraction of a second on any of those 15 hits meant it was over. Parrying isn't safe like blocking. You have to tap forward right into the attack within a 6-frame or 0.1 second window. Daigo did this 15 times in a row, flawlessly, in front of a screaming live audience before launching his own devastating counterattack. It is a pure, unadulterated test of nerve and superhuman muscle memory.
Section 3. When skill meets RNG. Let's see how this all builds when the luck of the lottery crashes directly into the skill of a machine.
Minecraft speedrunning is the perfect example of this dialectic crash. It demands elite mechanical decision-making to capitalize on incredibly rare randomized maps. You're rapidly evaluating a random, procedurally generated world, making highly complex decisions on the fly with incomplete information, all while executing perfect technical movements.
These speedrunners are basically going to war against pseudo-random number generators. They're relentlessly grinding, restarting hundreds or thousands of times, just hoping for the perfect algorithmic seed. And even if they get that god-tier map, they still have to pray that enemies drop the exact right items at the exact right moment.
Take Summoning Salt's historic sub-2-minute Mike Tyson's Punch-Out record. It required an agonizing mix of flawless inputs and a 1 in 10,000 luck pattern.
He hit 21 frame-perfect punches, meaning his inputs landed within exactly 1/60th of a second. But even with that godlike skill, the record was only possible because the AI Mike Tyson randomly chose a highly specific, super rare attack pattern. Without that luck, the skill would have been completely wasted.
Section 4. The agony and the ecstasy. Because when success requires blending this high skill with volatile randomness, the game can bite back hard in the most heartbreaking ways imaginable.
We see this absolute agony when a runner named Josh watched his Grand Theft Auto speedrun instantly die because, well, an uncontrolled plane randomly fell out of the sky and crushed him. No joke. Not a programmed boss fight, not a route mistake, just a totally random simulation mechanic deciding his run was over. The game picked the exact wrong moment to trigger an improbable event.
Or look at the pure emotional devastation of Pokemon speedrunner Worsters. His astronomically bad luck left him totally out of Pokeballs against a simple Caterpie. He went in with 5 Pokeballs, mathematically a near certainty to catch this low-level bug, but the random number generator failed him 5 times in a row, completely dead-ending the run right then and there. Just a brutal display of sheer bad luck.
This tension between extreme skill and luck even creates massive controversies. Like when the Minecraft verification team had to bust out rigorous statistics, specifically the binomial theorem, to factually evaluate an impossibly lucky streak. It just shows how mathematically obsessed these communities have to be to separate genuine, lottery-level luck from actual cheating. Section 5. Why we keep playing. So, why do we subject ourselves to this madness where perfection can be derailed by a digital coin toss?
Well, as Kyle Giddens' framework points out, top-tier gamers face the curse of diminishing returns. Beating a record becomes this Sisyphean grind for better luck. Once your skill caps out, the only way to beat the world record is to literally roll better digital dice than the last guy. You just have to grind until you're handed that God seed.
Ultimately, it's this exact intersection of unknowable odds and sheer perseverance that pushes human performance to its absolute limits. Because the outcomes are uncertain, players have to constantly analyze risks, adapt on the fly, and salvage terrible luck using pure mechanical brilliance. The randomness is what forces the skill to evolve.
Which leaves us with a fascinating paradox to consider. The next time you celebrate an incredible gaming victory, ask yourself, who really rolled the winning dice? Was it the countless hours you spent perfecting your timing? Or did a line of code deep within the game simply decide it was finally your turn to win? I hope this explainer gave you a new perspective on the games we play. Until next time, keep analyzing the odds.